Ahead on NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen.
It's a look back at some of our favorite day-in-the-life stories. We're traveling across the country to bring you a closer look at farms and ranches all over America.
And now, NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen with host Kevin Oxner.
Hello and welcome to this week's special edition of NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen. I'm Kevin Oxner. Thanks for joining us. Each week, our crews travel all across the U.S. to tell the stories of the farmers and ranchers who work day in and day out to help raise quality, wholesome beef. This week, we're revisiting some of our favorites from these day-in-the-life stories. So let's get started. We begin in Kansas, where Brian Baxter shows us what life is like back home for NCBA President Tracy Bruner.
Make a trip through the Flint Hills of eastern Kansas and you just might find Tracy Bruner doing what he loves to do, saddling his horse, riding out to check cattle, and tending to the business of his family's enterprise, the Cow Camp Ranch.
Well, actually, we're the third and fourth and now fifth generations of Bruners farming, ranching, raising cattle here in this part of Kansas. Our operation has evolved into a fairly diversified portion of the beef industry. We have everything from conception to consumption represented in our family entities.
On a daily basis, Tracy leads the feedlot and livestock marketing side of the business, but the Bruner family works together with Tracy and his two brothers as well as their wives and children, dividing responsibilities in a diverse farming and cattle operation.
Over time, we have become involved in genetics and seed stock production, where we raise bulls and females that go throughout the United States. We also have a farming and feeding enterprise that feeds and finishes cattle right here in our feed yard, which works very well with our grazing operation, our ranching enterprise, if you will, that grazes cattle on the native grasses of the Flint Hills. Additionally, we market those cattle through a value-based marketing system that lets us focus on quality, and not only quality of the cattle that we're raising, but the quality of beef that those cattle produce. This helps us to stay focused on the end product and realize efficiencies all through the beef animals production.
Watch Tracy on horseback or working his way through the feedlot, and you can see this is what he's spent his whole life doing, caring for cattle and working to find ways to continue raising the bar and producing the highest quality beef possible.
I was very fortunate throughout my younger years to be blessed with both family and teachers, pastors, even a county extension agent that were very supportive and very encouraging and expected success. Through the years, the livestock associations, both at the local level as well at the state level, have played a strong role in the continuing education that's very vital for me to stay in touch with not only other producers and other ideas, but new technologies and emerging ways to do things better in a more efficient manner. And so that continuing education and that networking with other producers has always been very important to us.
Always eager to learn more and give back to the industry he loves, Tracy has tackled a variety of volunteer positions in the beef industry on both the state and national level. Most recently, he served as an officer of the National Cattlemen's Beef Association.
I am very much looking forward to being president of NCBA in 2016. I'm looking forward to attending as many state meetings and local events as possible, and seeing as many NCBA members at our national meetings. The real strength of NCBA is through its affiliates. We have over 30,000 direct members, but we also represent 250,000 cattlemen throughout the United States through our affiliates. The state organizations, the state beef councils, the breed affiliates, all are cattlemen that are part of NCBA. We truly represent cattlemen and the cattle industry in our country.
In the year he'll serve as NCBA president, Tracy sees clear priorities that can help grow the American beef cattle business.
Trade is a big one. The Trans-Pacific Partnership that has just been negotiated and signed but still needs to be ratified will be a great thing for our industry. Very important for the next generation of cattlemen in this country. It's a good agreement. It will lower our trade tariffs into our best customer, Japan, from 38% down to 9% over 16 years of the agreement.
Beyond the opportunity to grow U.S. beef exports to Japan and other Pacific Rim markets, Tracy says there are plenty of policy challenges ahead as NCBA works to protect cattle producers and their freedom to operate.
We've been pushing back on the waters of the U.S. rule ever since it was first announced several years ago. It's a classic example of government overreach into areas that just don't need to be under federal control. You know, in the second term of this administration, we've already seen an escalation of the initiatives and the use of the executive order to further the agenda of the administration. We're going to continue to need to be vigilant, to push back in places where things like additional monument designations are used, listing of endangered species are brought forward that will encroach on private property rights and the use of public lands that are both so very vital to our cattle industry and our beef production systems throughout the country.
As always, there's no shortage of challenges to face, and in 2016, it's likely that Tracy Bruner will spend more than 200 days away from his home ranch, serving as president of the National Cattlemen's Beef Association and speaking out on behalf of the industry he loves. He'll do so to help ensure a future for family members growing up on his own ranch and for all those who hope to have a future in America's beef industry.
My hope and prayer would be that as many as possible could enjoy the independent lifestyle, the opportunity to run their own business, to work the land, raising animals, maybe working with their family, providing the high quality food, the highest quality protein that the world knows. I've never been more optimistic about the potential for our industry. With the globalization of economies and new technologies that continue to bring us closer and closer together, all the consumers of the world want to eat better, and that includes our high-quality beef, the premium protein.
On the Cow Camp Ranch in Kansas, I'm Brian Baxter reporting for NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen.
Every day, Tracy and the rest of the NCBA staff here in Denver and in Washington, D.C. is working on the issues that matter to cattle-producing families. You can help in the fight for our industry's future by becoming an NCBA member. Just call 1-866-USA-BEEF or go online to the website beefusa.org. Still to come on Cattlemen to Cattlemen, wait until you see the urban encroachment one Denver area ranch is working around. Plus, see how one Kansas operation is using the latest technology to ensure their customers get only the best bulls. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
What does it mean to be dependable? It means you do what you say you'll do time and time again. Because performance isn't optional, and your task is essential. For over 95 years, we have proven ourselves to be the most dependable choice. That's why the cattlemen of this great nation trust Ritchie to provide fresh water on demand. Ritchie, proud to be a partner to the American cattlemen since 1921.
Do you know all you need to about working cattle? Did you know there are proven methods that can reduce stress for the animals, for you, and for your crew? Learn from the experts who can help sharpen your stockmanship and stewardship skills. By attending a stockmanship and stewardship event, you'll learn proven ways to work cattle more efficiently, skills that can help put more money in your pocket. Find out more and locate a training session near you at the website stockmanshipandstewardship.org.
Welcome back. One of the amazing things about the cattle business is the way it continues to evolve. As a producer, especially if you're younger, you often have to adapt and get creative to take advantage of opportunities in the marketplace. We have an example of this as Cattlemen to Cattlemen reporter Russell Nemitz brings us a day in the life of the Lazy H Ranch in western Kansas.
It's just after first light outside Hays, Kansas, and the crew at the Lazy H Ranch is already busy. They're feeding the bulls and getting the lowdown on the day's chores from Mark Rohr, who founded this operation 15 years ago, following in the footsteps of his dad.
The history here in Hays first started off in the 1960s with my dad starting the Charlet herd, which is called Smoky Hill Charlet Farm, and the family is all part of that today, and my dad's still here at age 75 running the show, so really happy to be a father and son team, and there's probably some days that we're not, but it's really good to be around him as the years go on. Ultimately, the Lazy H Ranch came into play when we had some investors offer to us. They wanted us to run a conception to consumption program with the Proven Sire program, and what better place to do it in western Kansas.
Now, from his base in western Kansas, Mark leads Proven Sire Services and raises purebred Angus and Charlet bulls under the Lazy H Ranch name known as LHR.
Lazy H Ranch and Proven Sires combined together have really hit home for us here. We're able to basically go to our customers, or our customers are able to come to us, and we just don't sell them bulls. We can give them a game plan from A to Z. Instead of just saying, well, you want to AI your heifers, here you go, this is what you need to do, we can go do it for them. And instead of just talking about, you need to go see your veterinarian about this vaccination program, we can set up a consultation with some of our veterinarians that we know and respect throughout the Midwest, and help them design something that's going to work with the program that we're trying to figure out with them.
As the LHR Ranch has grown, customers have come to rely on Mark's knowledge to help them use genetics to take their herds to the next level. One of those customers was the Liker family that turned to Mark when they wanted to improve their commercial cattle operation.
The biggest thing was getting our uniformity up there. Now we've got the uniformity, and we're starting to see ribeye area, and we're starting to really push for the bigger ribeyes, and that makes a bigger calf, and we're selling pounds of beef. It actually weeded out a lot of smaller bulls that we were looking for. We started out looking on the light birth weight heifers like a lot of people, and after watching our data, we started seeing, well, if we get these bulls with a little bit heavier, a little bit more maternal, we watch bloodlines a lot more now. We're raising nice light birth weight calves, and they're going gangbusters on feed.
A lot of our customers will come to us and say, hey Mark, we got this problem, or this problem, and we've heard that you can help us correct that. What can you do for us? And we'll just sit down and we'll start a game plan for them. And that game plan might last, it might be as simple as a 30-day deal, but it might be a 3-year deal or a 4-year deal. It just depends what their ultimate goals are and where they want to take their cow herd to.
From using AI and embryo transfer to selecting bulls with help from DNA markers, Mark has worked hard to innovate and add technology to advance the genetics he can offer. And he's a believer in watching his bulls closely at every stage of development.
By being able to go ahead and have the breeding program we have, and then wean those cattle coming in, we get to see at all stages of the games which bulls and females for that matter are really doing a really good job in our program. We always see them day in, day out, very few days off, but we get to see those cattle grow. And it's one thing to sit there and say grow them and raise them, but to sit there and be around those cattle 24/7 from the time that they hit the ground to the time that they're marketed, and even after that. Ultimately, these are breeding cattle. They're not fat cattle, and so we got to take our programs and make sure that the dollars that our customers are spending on these bulls, they actually go out and do their job, and that's to breed those cows and continue having the fertility, having the feet and legs and the soundness underneath them, so they continue to do that for the next 6 to 10 years, however long that bull's going to be traveling that herd.
One way Mark has built his business is with his dedication to his customers. He's always open to helping customers' kids with 4-H projects, and most of the feed he uses in his operation is purchased from his bull buyers, and he keeps in contact, visits their operations, and follows up to know the bulls they buy are working.
We try to go interact with a lot of those commercial producers. We don't want to just sell them a bull on sale day and deliver him and call it good. I want to see if our genetics are working the best way they can in that herd and in that environment. My job is to make sure that, their herd, if they have any questions, whether it be nutrition, vaccination, where do we market these cattle once we get them on the ground? What's our next goal? I want to be there for them.
Mark is a guy who doesn't slow down, moving from one task to the next and making sure his bulls and his customers are making progress every day. I'm Russell Nemitz for NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen.
In some areas of the country, cattle producers are dealing with urban sprawl as cities and towns expand and housing subdivisions encroach on ranching borders. This can often create problems as urban and rural folks learn to coexist in close proximity to one another. Cattlemen to Cattlemen reporter Sharon Alseth has more on a Colorado rancher who has found a way to exist in harmony with his city neighbors.
As a kid growing up on a small ranch in Colorado, Matt Clough was more interested in becoming a police officer than running a cattle operation. However, police work never panned out, and today he owns Clough Cattle Company, just south of Denver.
My ranching operation consists of approximately 40,000 acres located along the Front Range from Denver to Pueblo, Colorado. And we manage and maintain approximately 45,000 acres and run 700 cows and approximately 3,000 to 4,000 yearlings based on moisture content.
Although Matt raises cattle on a couple of different locations, his pastures in Highlands Ranch offer a unique set of challenges. They are right up against a growing subdivision, which means Clough Cattle Company has to deal with an intense amount of urban pressure.
The property located in Highlands Ranch is probably surrounded by the largest amount of residents out of all the ranches that I lease and maintain. It's the largest homeowners association in the country, and we have approximately 100,000 residents that surround the remaining 12,000 acres that's located directly in the heart of Highlands Ranch. My pastures abut right up to houses, and we maintain the fences directly behind their property lines and run cattle adjacent to the houses on the entire 12,000 acres and surrounded by homeowners and residents.
Matt has been leasing the Highlands Ranch property for about 20 years, so he's no stranger to raising cattle this close to an urban community. The ranch's proximity to the city often creates problems, the biggest of which is people trespassing on the property.
People assume open space means that they are able to go out on the property and venture out as needed. And we've kind of had to, over the years, teach people that no trespassing means no trespassing. We appreciate people, we appreciate them respecting our fence lines and our cattle, and it's for their safety that we like to keep them out of our property. We've gotten a pretty good hold of it now, but it's been an issue ongoing for many years.
Along with the thousands of people surrounding the ranch comes thousands of ideas from neighbors about how to properly care for the cattle.
It's a challenge to ranch in the city when you have 100,000 people surrounding your pastures, and people like to manage your herd for you and manage your horses and have a lot of good ideas, but not always feasible. Some of the comments we hear from neighbors and concerned citizens are, why don't your cattle have shade? Why don't your cattle have adequate cooling systems to include misters on hot days? And we just have to identify with the public and let them know that cattle are a part of the ground and they can survive with the bare necessities such as grass and water and get along just fine.
Despite these difficulties, Matt looks at this as an opportunity to educate his many neighbors about the beef industry and let them see firsthand the proper way to raise cattle.
We try to do our best to educate people on Highlands Ranch and surrounding ranches that beef production is very, very important, and we need to keep these open spaces not just for recreational purposes, but for grazing purposes as well. So letting residents know in newsletters and whatnot really helps out to identify with people the proper ways and techniques to manage cattle in the city environment.
The life of a suburban cowboy can be a double-edged sword, but Matt has embraced the challenge of working this close to the city. His love of cattle ranching and affection for city life makes Highlands Ranch the perfect location for the Clough Cattle Company.
The reason I picked the ranch so close to the city is because I enjoy so many different things that the city has to offer. We can be on a horse at 5 in the morning and be at an Avalanche game by noon the same day. They call me the preppy cowboy, so the fit is perfect for, I guess, a preppy cowboy to be close to Denver and be able to do my passion and do what I love every day.
Reporting from Highlands Ranch, Colorado, I'm Sharon Alseth for NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen.
Want to rewatch an episode of Cattlemen to Cattlemen or catch up on anything you've missed? Then visit our YouTube page. You'll find replays of all our shows filled with educational segments and producer profiles from all across the country. It's also another chance to see Baxter Black. So check us out at youtube.com/Cattlemen to Cattlemen. Still to come on Cattlemen to Cattlemen, see how one seed stock operation has grown the business over the years to accommodate future generations. Plus, we'll take a closer look at a ranch in Arkansas that is also looking to expand. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
No matter what job I've got to do, my John Deere 5E tractor can do it all. Whether I'm cutting, moving feed, or building a fence. Using my 5E means my work gets done faster at a price I can afford, and that works for me.
No storm is too powerful for new Purina Wind and Rain Storm Minerals, formulated with ultimate weather resistance. That means more minerals in the feeder and available to your cattle. Wind and Rain Storm Minerals provide more consistent intake and balanced mineral nutrition to optimize herd health and breedback rates. See the difference at your local Purina dealer or visit cattlenutrition.com. Wind and Rain Storm Minerals, another way Purina is building better cattle.
Welcome back. It's a challenge that many cattle producing families face. How do you make room in your business when the kids want to return home to be part of the operation? Brian Baxter shows us how one Kansas family has grown their seed stock business to accommodate the next generation.
The Sandhills of Kansas are home to McCurry Angus Ranch, a family operation with roots going back to 1928. Andy and Mary McCurry both knew from an early age that they wanted to be in the cattle business.
McCurry Angus Ranch has a long and rich history in the Angus business. We're currently 5th generation with our son and his wife's 2 young children that are here on the ranch as well. But we're a little bit unusual, even though we're coming up 5th generation. We were actually, when my husband and I got married, both being 3rd generation, we had no equipment. So a lot of generational families are able to come back to operations, but we did our own startup.
McCurry Angus Ranch has grown rapidly over the past several years, but the quality genetics of their purebred cattle trace back to the early days on the ranch.
The evolution of McCurry Angus really started, I think, when Andy and I got married. He had 6 heifers, and I had 1 cow. The beauty of that with those 7 particular females that we had is that we had 7 distinct cow family lines. We actually had them traced back to the Angus Association, so we knew the lineage of those cow family names. They're all still represented in this herd. In fact, 90%, I think 95% of our herd does trace back to those 7 particular cows. So we did the natural growth progress until John came back from college.
We make our living off of our cows, and so we want our cows to be as good as they can from an efficient, reproductively sound basis. We ask a lot of those cows because we run them just like anybody would from a commercial perspective. They don't get any extra TLC because that they happen to have a paper. These females are ran in real world environment. I consider that we do very diligent research in terms of our AI sires. We use very proven bulls that have daughters in production, established AI sires. We try to AI as much as we can. At least 80% of our bull sale offering will be AI sired.
The McCurry family's success is a story of the American dream, where family members innovate and grow their business to support multiple families living off the land. When John McCurry and his wife Melody decided to return to the family ranch, he got creative in growing the herd size and finding ways to draw in customers for their Angus bulls.
We've gone into doing quite a bit more embryo work. What we do is we don't necessarily search out to create an animal that's unique, in terms of just his EPD profile, but what we do is selecting a donor cow is take the high-performing, efficient cows that have year after year calved under a 365-day interval, but she's also has a proven track record of creating higher dollar valued cattle from a marketability standpoint.
It's the ultimate compliment to have your son interested in doing and coming back to the operation from where you kind of took it from the ground up. So it's also a little bit scary because you also need to think cash flow. He needs to be earning a living with that, and so that's where our numbers really had to grow in order to compass that. But it's the ultimate compliment, and you think you know your kids, but when you work with them, it's a true partnership.
The seed stock operation hosts their bull sale every year in March, where they offer more than 100 genetically proven Angus bulls. John selects mating combinations to create bulls with muscle, power, and low birth weights.
I think our bulls here at McCurry Angus will work for most anybody that's after just good, sound beef bulls. More recently, we have grasped the DNA technology, and so every bull it sells has 50K performance data matched into his EPD profile. This year, we have also low density 50K'd every single cow or female that is in our possession. So now that we have 2 generations of stacked genomic enhanced EPDs.
Customer service after the sale is a big priority for everyone at McCurry Angus. John has teamed up with Superior Livestock to provide marketing opportunities for calves sired by McCurry Angus bulls.
We try to offer as many alternatives as we can. Through Superior Livestock, we've got the availability of marketing those calves ahead of time versus the traditional way. One thing that's worked well for us with John's bull customers, we have different regional areas of the country where there might be several producers in one area that are using John's bulls. We can group those lots together. Just for instance, here in Reno County, we have a handful of producers that are using McCurry Angus bulls, and we had all of those cattle on one sale here this past summer, where producers got 4 or 5 different lots of those calves with similar genetics.
Being teamed up with Josh Miller of Superior Livestock is a great advantage for our customers, because he not only knows the genetics and the cattle that they're trying to sell, and we team up and try to get a marketing strategy to forward contract these cattle and get customers with similar vaccination protocols or similar genetics from certain regions to market their calves at the same time.
The McCurry's dedication to doing things right has made a statement in the cattle industry. Recently, the family was selected as the 2015 Beef Improvement Federation Seed Stock Producer of the Year.
That was just probably as humbling a moment for our family as we've ever had. We were nominated through the Kansas Livestock Association and NCBA affiliate, and that was probably as humbling as even winning it, because the depth of people and operations in the state of Kansas through all breeds, to be that nominee from this state was one in itself, and then to take it to win that award was amazing.
With another generation already showing interest, the McCurry family is committed to innovating while also remembering their roots and looking to the future of the Angus business.
I think the differentiating factor for McCurry Angus Ranch is that we are a family-owned, family-operated entity, but we do, I think, have a very unique operation in that we are still maintaining those 7 cow family lines for almost 40 years, and then they actually came from our parents' operations too. So when you're looking for something that's tried and true and looking for a product that can function in a lot of different environments, this is an operation that can do that.
Reporting from Kansas, I'm Brian Baxter for NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen.
There are many great reasons to become a member of NCBA, and one of them is the chance to read the National Cattleman. It's the official publication of NCBA and provides timely news and articles about the issues and events affecting the beef industry. A subscription is included free of charge when you become a member of NCBA. Joining is easy. Just give us a call at 1-866-USA-BEEF or visit us online at beefusa.org. Still to come on Cattlemen to Cattlemen, we get a closer look at a day in the life of a stocker operator in Arkansas. Plus, we'll check in with the always entertaining cowboy poet, Baxter Black. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Want more profit out of your pasture? Then here's our 2 cents on using parasite control to make some dollars. In a trial of calves, Long Range outperformed Sidectin and Safeguard dewormers combined by as much as an extra 40 pounds. Yeah, that's a lot of extra profit, and that's why it pays to treat cattle with Long Range. Do not treat within 48 days of slaughter. Not for use in female dairy cattle 20 months of age or older, including dry dairy cows or in veal calves. Post-injection site damage can occur. These reactions have disappeared without treatment. You can't afford another season without Long Range.
Long live the courageous, the tenacious, the ones who push forward and give back. Long live the greater good, the helping hand, and long live the truck built to outlast them all. Ram, America's longest lasting pickups.
Welcome back. Around the country, expansion is on the minds of cattle producers like Bruce Alford, head of a multi-generational stocker operation in Arkansas. Stocker operations play a key role in the beef supply chain, and they depend on a steady supply of calves for their livelihood. As backgrounders, they work to transition calves between weaning and placement in the feed yard. Cattlemen to Cattlemen reporter Russell Nemitz shows us how Alford Farms helps its animals efficiently pack on the pounds.
Bruce Alford Farms is a cattle backgrounding operation located in the southwest corner of Arkansas. Owner Bruce Alford continues the tradition started by his father back in the 1950s.
He started here in 1956 and had to start on little scales, small scales, and since then we started our own operations and added to his and just made it bigger and bigger. We feed a handful of cattle. We buy the 2 and 3 weights and put them on wheat and gain them on grass as much as possible and sell them to feed yards.
Stocker operators like Bruce rely on forage in combination with grains to increase a calf's weight by several hundred pounds and to build up immunity to diseases before it enters a feedlot. Over the years, Bruce has found that one of the keys to healthy animals is getting the cattle off to a good start once they arrive at his place.
The main thing is to get them to eating and drinking. So far, it's worked real good. Now, we do need to make some changes yet. You don't never quit changing, but it's worked good, and then we'll put them in traps for a short period of time, 30 days, and try to put them out in bigger pastures after that. The ones that perform well will gain well. In a short period of time, there's nothing to get 2 pounds a day gains out of them in the first 2 weeks. And one that is challenged would be different. They're not going to gain as good. The health problem's going to be worse. It's just totally different.
Diagnosing and treating sick animals is essential in the stocker business. Bruce says there's one thing cow-calf operators could do to help make life a little easier for the people in the cattle industry farther down the production pipeline.
Get a good vaccination program and put them on. Go ahead on. Put it in them and go on. It help the respiratory problems and the whole shebang. It help us a whole bunch.
An ample supply of good quality pasture throughout the grazing season is the goal of every stocker operator. But when the grass is down, Bruce gets creative to make sure his cattle are gaining. That means turning to some non-traditional ways to feed the cattle, like peanuts.
The pellets, a lot of them come from Alabama and Georgia and everywhere else. And they are peanut hull pellets because normally they're cheaper and they work good for us. and cottonseed hulls. We use cottonseed hulls. Syrup, put a little syrup in it, get a smell on it. Most of the cattle we buy don't know what feed is, don't know what water troughs are or anything else. So you kind of got to train them and tow them a little bit.
Bruce buys and sells cattle throughout the year. Although there are many options for marketing cattle, Bruce prefers to sell his animals directly to feed yards and order buyers.
I'm probably different than most people. When I'm ready to sell, I'm ready to sell. And I get it done. I don't have to wait 2 weeks to put them on the video and get them on television, get them sold. And sometimes that's bad and sometimes it's good. But usually when I feel it's right to sell, I'm selling.
Despite the challenges that he faces on a day-to-day basis, Bruce is confident in the long-term outlook for the beef industry.
The market right now is unbelievable. We're in ground that none of us have ever seen before that's in the cattle business. The prices are just unbelievable, and I do think that the market will be fine for a while. It's no doubt with prices that we have today that they will rebuild the herds if they got the marshal to do it with. It's a totally different deal today than it was just a few years ago. You're looking at a world market today. We're getting so many people. I think the beef industry, I think it's all going to be good for us for several years to come.
And hopefully, Bruce's outlook for a bright future in the cattle business proves to be correct. Reporting from Louisville, Arkansas, I'm Russell Nemitz for NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen.
Why not join Bruce as a member of the nation's largest cattle industry organization? It's easy to do. Just visit the website beefusa.org or call 1-866-USA-BEEF. Still ahead, we'll have the latest from Baxter Black. Plus, we'll show you what changes an Indiana couple made when their daughter returned home to join their cattle business. Stay with us.
Saddle up and make your way to Denver, Colorado for the 2017 Cattle Industry Summer Business Meeting. This is your chance to stay up to date on beef industry trends and policies, meet with industry leadership and your fellow cattlemen and women. Plus, you'll get insights on hot topics at the Issues Forums. Mark your calendar for the 2017 Cattle Industry Summer Business Meeting, July 12th to the 15th in Denver. Find out more at beefusa.org.
This isn't a 9-to-5 job. So when you check the pants one last time and get things ready for the night crew, it's not the clock that tells you the day is over. It's the confidence of knowing you got it right. So when you see the signs of BRD, choose confidence. Choose Suprevo from Merck Animal Health. Talk to your veterinarian about Suprevo for BRD treatment.
Welcome back. Bringing your kids into an operation isn't always easy. It sometimes requires rethinking many aspects of the business. Cattleman to Cattleman reporter Brad Bulla has a story of an Indiana couple that decided to expand to make room for their daughter and her family.
Indiana farmers Donnie and Tammy Lawson both have a lifelong passion for agriculture, especially raising cattle.
Well, I grew up in the poultry industry. We didn't have any cattle back then, but as a neighbor came to me when I was in 4-H and asked if I'd be interested in showing a calf, and I said absolutely, and once I did, I was hooked.
We're kind of a traditional Indiana farm that's diversified. We have row crops, we have a feedlot, we have cow-calf herd, and we do some hay also.
Recently, Donnie and Tammy spent a lot of time thinking about the future of Lawson Land and Cattle, specifically how to incorporate their kids. Their son Clayton is in the military, but daughter Kaylee was ready to join the business. The Lawsons discovered there's a lot to consider when bringing in another generation.
Being able to support another family is certainly an obstacle on the size farm that we had.
We had to try to find a way to bring her and potentially her family back, and yet keep our family doing the same things that we do.
Today, Kaylee and her husband Jeremy are full-time members of the operation. But getting to this point, where everyone could be supported, required expansion. After several years of planning and research, the decision was made to build this monoslope building to help improve their feeding program and the number of animals they could support.
The monoslope building's had a huge impact on our operation. It's improved our efficiency and also the ability for us to increase our numbers quickly. It also, on a management standpoint, it takes less people and less time to manage it on a day-to-day basis.
We have seen an immediate impact as far as the health of our cattle, the efficiency, and of course our time investment in feeding cattle. We were driving as much as 60 miles a day. For us, that's a lot of driving to feed, no more than 300 head of feeders. Now we can feed over 500 head in less than an hour and a half.
There's a lot of other structures out there that we looked at, but at the end of the day, this was the one that we knew that would last, not only for us, as long as Tammy and I want to feed cattle, but for our daughter, our son, and their families too.
Expanding a cattle operation in Indiana, a state most often known for row crops, was a decision that was questioned by some.
The additional expense of investment into a feedlot, a modern monoslope feedlot, was questioned by many. And not so much that it wasn't a good idea, but why at our age would we want to invest additional funding into something that will take maybe 10 to 15 years to come to pay off.
We had lots of questions of why do you want to expand here? Well, this is our home. I grew up in this community. Tammy and I have been a part of this community for 30 years. I've lived here all my life, and this is where we wanted to be. And we can feed cattle in Indiana just as well as any other state.
Although there's no one-size-fits-all way to incorporate other generations into an operation, the Lawsons have some advice to those in the beef industry looking to grow.
I'd say the first thing that you want to do if you want to integrate a new generation in or a different generation is to first get a plan of what each person is interested in, and also how you can go about and integrating that into your current operation.
I wouldn't be afraid, especially in Indiana or any of the Midwestern states, to expand your cattle operation. I think there's all kinds of opportunities, whether it's in the cow-calf sector, the stalker side of it, or the feedlot. You've got to run your numbers and make sure it works for you, but there's all types of opportunities in the beef business.
The Lawsons may not be done expanding. They're already planning for the possibility that Kaylee's family continues to grow, or that son Clay decides to return to the farm as well. No matter what the future holds, the Lawsons will be ready to support subsequent generations.
My hope for the future is for our operation to grow so that we can welcome more generations in later on down the road. But we also want to be able to support the generations that are currently involved.
I wouldn't mind building another building if we can grow it enough to bring the cattle in, and it takes a lot of money to operate this, and so as long as we can create the capital and do a good job at what we're doing, we'd love to expand even more.
The opportunity for us to bring our next generation back to our family operation here, it overjoys me. We knew this is what we love. When people talk about retiring, this is what we'll do when we retire. So whether Kaylee likes it or not, we're going to be around for a while.
Reporting from Thorntown, Indiana, I'm Brad Bullitt for NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen.
Want a chance to revisit all the day in the life stories we've done over the years? Then visit our YouTube page. You'll find replays of all of our shows filled with producer profiles from all across the country. So check us out at youtube.com/Cattlemen to Cattlemen. Up next, it's time once again for our good friend Baxter Black. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay Tough fence will last 3 times longer and is 4 times stronger than low tensile fencing. High tensile wire, solid vertical stays, and tight fixed knots all provide superior strength. You will use fewer posts, saving time, labor, and money. Protect your investment for generations with Stay Tough fence. Stay strong, stay tight, stay tough.
Say goodbye to your toughest pasture and rangeland weeds for good. Because one product offers season-long control, handles the widest spectrum of broadleaf weeds, and clears the way for increased forage with greater grazing flexibility. So you get more beef per acre at a cost that can't be beat. It's Grazon Next HL herbicide, and if it's in your pastures, plain and simple, weeds won't be.
If you're allergic to Progress, I'll catch you later. How important is it for your vaccine, medicine, and pour-on to be accurately administered? I mean, does a 376-pounder get the same medicine as a 400-pounder behind him? And how about your pour-on? Cows can easily differ 100 pounds. Tapari has a pistol grip that automatically calculates the specific doses. It's amazing. You betcha. Squeeze chute required. Check it out. Tapari.com. We know you're up before the dawn, because the cattle rise before the sun. And you spend long hours in the saddle because the herd isn't always over the next rise. And you care for the land because you know it takes care of your family. And we know you do great work. And it's time to tell that story to the marketplace. IMI Global is here to help you do just that.
Dee was an authentic animal lover. She grew up on a western cattle ranch, and after she moved away, her suburban neighborhood prevented her from raising cows. They're so bulky, she said. But her need to shepherd was not satisfied by dogs, cats, or even a gerbil. One day she discovered alpacas. They are the Porsche of camelids, compared to the SUV llama or the army tank dromedary. Any good stockman can affirm that it is possible to develop an affection for a bum lamb or a good and faithful cow. So when I say she loved her alpacas, we livestock people understand that particular bond. But I admit I did not entirely grasp the depth of her animal husbandriness. "Is that an alpaca wound?" I asked, pointing at the scratch on her hand. "No," she said, as if she was about to say something as commonplace as, "I fell," or "the rosebush got me." "No," she said, "I got it bathing a chicken." "I raise hens," she said, nonchalantly, as if I could name 3 people in my circle of acquaintances who actually keep layers in their backyard. "Do they get a bath every weekend or just on special occasions?" I asked, beginning to question her true relationship with the animal kingdom. "No, don't be silly. Etta," she's named after my aunt, was being picked on by the other hens, and she'd quit laying. She was quite poopy. I didn't ask for a definition of poopy. After all, I am a veterinarian. I tried brushing her, and then I tried a nearly disastrous attempt with the steel nozzle of my vacuum cleaner. Finally, I filled a bucket with warm water and stood her in it up to her neck. After some initial wing flapping, she sort of relaxed, kicked back, and had a good soak. I washed her affected areas with soap. "You mean behind her wattles and under her wing pits?" I asked. "No," she laughed. She said, "I just toweled her off good and dried her with a hair dryer and poofed her up, and guess what? She laid an egg the next day." Dee looked at me and smiled sweetly. She had a tender heart. "Out of appreciation for your loving care, I bet," I said, and I meant it. This is Baxter Black from out there.
Thanks, Baxter. We always enjoy our visits with you each week. Now, if you'd like to learn more about what's happening with NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen, you can find us on Facebook. Be sure to like our page, and we'll keep you updated with photos, details on upcoming shows, and much more. And it's a great way to connect with other cattlemen and women all across our country. So check us out on Facebook. We'll have more Cattlemen to Cattlemen right after this. Stay with us.
There are many great reasons to join NCBA, and that includes exclusive NCBA member discounts and benefits from some outstanding companies.
Hi, this is Kerry Bastine, president of Roper Apparel and Footwear, Stetson Apparel Boots, and Tin Hall. We are very proud sponsors of the NCBA, and for all new members signing up with the NCBA, you get 50% off your first purchase, and for all Go Forward members, you get 25% off 4 times a year. Go to urbanwesternwear.com, click on the NCBA specials, use your coupon code for your first 50% off, and come back to Urban Western Wear all year long and use your 25% coupons that you'll find in the National Cattlemen's newspaper.
Big discounts on boots, clothing, and Western apparel is just one of the many amazing deals you get as an NCBA member. Don't miss out. Join NCBA today and enjoy these exclusive member discounts. Find out more at beefusa.org.
Welcome back. It's time once again for one of my favorite segments on the show, Legacy Photos, as we check out some amazing shots submitted to us by families from all across our country. Let's take a look. Want to see your photo on Cattlemen to Cattlemen? You can submit your favorite shots at our website. That's cattlementocattlemen.org. Include your ranch or farm name and your hometown, and we may use them on a future episode. Well, that's our time for this week's special Day in the Life edition of NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you again next week right here on RFD TV.